What's up, YouTube? Bubbles and Ball Cards back with another video. It's a Friday, 1:30 on the East Coast. So I don't know if folks will get on or not, but figured, you know what, let's see if anybody is out there at lunch or maybe took the day off today, wanted to hang out, talk sports cards, the hobby, talk about the grading updates, that sort of thing. I am I'm gonna be you see here, I have the magnifying glass. I'm sitting and uh looking over cards, getting an order prepared. So just wanted to get on, hang out for a little bit while I did this and see if anybody wanted to chat. So what is up, Bullpen? How are you doing, brother? Mile High says, "What's up?" And the hobby is effed. Why do you think the hobby's effed? What's going on there? Um, so a few things that's been on my mind. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about, the pricing with the updates, and there's, both PSA and SGC's at $18 right now, and that's fair to think. PSA's got the resale value. That's what everybody first initially goes to, is resale value. Um, but there's other advantages beyond the resale, and that's the turnaround time is a key factor. And I know right now folks are saying um, they're getting their July specials back and that sort of thing. But we're sitting here now in October, and the national was the end of July, beginning of August. So we're essentially like 6 to 8 weeks removed from that July special. And although that's faster than the 18 months that people were waiting, that's still 2 months, right? And the 120 day that PSA is advertising, that's calendar days, so that's still 4 months. So you now are looking at, all right, we're going to assume uh, we're going to assume that PSA does 1 million cards a month. But if they get in 2 million cards a month, each month they're adding an additional month onto their stockpile, right? They're once again creating a backlog. If they're already at 6 to 8 weeks or a 2 month turnaround, month and a half, 2 month turnaround, that will likely grow to 4 months. SGC right now is sitting at, they're advertising 5 to 10 business days, and as we've seen, people are getting stuff done in like 3 days at times. Will that grow a little bit? Possibly. But then you throw in the declared value. PSA is $200 max declared value. Even if they let you slip through $300 card or a $350 card, that's still, it hits a good bit of cards out on the market, but it's still limited. SGC, I'll show you just one of the cards I'm sitting here working on. This would not be able to go to PSA for $18. Um, this would not be able to go to PSA for $18. So there's key things here where, although I know PSA's got a lot of people that support them, they are the massive company, right? There's still a lot of benefit with SGC, even at the same price now. And this is the rodeo we've been wrangling for 2.5 years now. Like, Mile High's been around, Bullpen's been around. Y'all have seen the ride that it's been on, and I've stuck to my guns, and I've preached the same thing all along. And I guess it really just depends on what the individual is looking at, what they're trying to do with their cards. If you're solely, you just want to win and you want the higher resale value, I mean, you have to, if you have a crystal ball that can tell you in 4 months what the card's going to be worth, that's great. But you have to always remember, especially today, the way things shift. Like, it used to be things shifted up. Well, today things shift down. So if you have a crystal ball to tell you 4 months, that's awesome. If you don't, today's price isn't tomorrow's. And the sooner you get it back, the sooner you can get your card sold, and the sooner you can get as close to today's price, the better off you'll be. So I know there's going to be battles back and forth. I know the way PSA came out and did theirs and slipped in first made it look like SGC was reacting. Uh, Truth be told, go watch. SGC has a YouTube channel. Go watch the video they posted. It's a very high quality produced and edited video. They speak in that video about the price change, and I don't know anybody on earth that could have filmed, produced, edited, got that video up, everything else in that short of a time frame without already having like the price change already in the works. So I don't think this was a reaction to PSA's little post-it note reel. I think this was the exact opposite. And so it's funny even how the optics of that has made people, oh, it looks bad on SGC. Well, they can't help if PSA put something out, you know, and maybe it was the opposite, you know. So anyway, let's look at some comments real quick. Paige says, hello, how are you doing, sir? He said he's enjoying a Guardians of Rays game. That sounds like it's kind of chilly here in Virginia. So I don't know how fun a game would be right now, but always nice to get out to the ballpark. It looks like you're wearing a Brewers jersey. I just noticed that. As a Nationals fan, the Brewers game in the 2019 wild card was one of the most memorable baseball games I'll ever have in my life. So apologies to you, sir. Josh says PSA is only 18. That's correct, sir. They are only 18 for sub 199 declare value. Also, if you're new to the channel and you haven't heard all of the updates, SGC's site, and let me just go over here and show y'all. Card grading. So if I can figure out how to do this, present, share screen, boom, share. So if you go to the website, this here, it says under 1500. The reason they have this on here is more so for the vintage stuff, but you guys know, like Mile High has sent in some pretty awesome vintage with those 48 leaf cards. He can confirm he didn't get charged any extra. So, like, this isn't for the ultra modern stuff. Peter has stated anything from 2000 to present, there's no declared value on it. So, that is a huge benefit because let's throw a card out there that's recently sold, the Justin Herbert NFL Shield auto that did $1.8 million. It's an ultra modern card that did $1.8 million. You could send that card in today to SGC for 18 bucks. How much would that cost you to get graded with PSA? A lot of money. A lot of money. So now I'm not saying any of us have $1.8 million cards laying around, but there is a key advantage with the declare value. People throw the turnaround time out there because that is important, but to me, the declared value is a game changer because you don't have to worry about like the cost to grade the card. You don't have to worry about, well, is it going to get a 10 and is it going to be a $5,000? Is it going to get a 9 and be $300? You don't have to worry about that. You just send your card in and wait for the grade to pop. So that's a little bit of a relief. So anyway, let's get back to, if I can control this computer. Maha said turnaround time is crazy for SGC and it's a great deal, 100%. CNT says, hi, Bobbles. Hello, sir. How are you doing? Paige said, depends who you ask. The hobby depends who you ask how the hobby is doing. If you don't grade, hobby is fine and dandy. When I can pick up an ungraded 1978 Topps baseball 704 for a 5 spot. Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to go about it. There's no right or wrong way. There's no right or wrong grading company. Hell, I like to use the example. I'm a Nationals fan. CNT's I think he's a Twins fan. Like, we're all different fans of different baseball teams. We can all be different fans of different grading companies or even manufacturers. I mean, some like Top, some like Panini. It's all, matter of preference. There's no right or wrong way to do this. That's why it's called a hobby. So, let's see. Jose Ramirez just jacked a 2-run homer. He has goosebumps because that's his guy. And he says he is at home watching. And the missus says she wanted to hop on and say hello, so she'll be in and out. She is working. So I just got on here to like just chat with you guys. Another thing like I wanted to talk about outside of my thoughts on like comparing the two, because yeah, they both are $18. No secret. Both 18 bucks. One company has advantages, the other, it's whether or not you want to wait and what price level of stuff you're sending in. So that's the obvious part. I wanted to tell everybody, I know there's new people, there's new subscribers, there's people that have been around this channel since day one. I just wanted to thank everybody and just kind of get that off my chest because uh, let's go back over here real quick. I want to show you all this. There was somebody that made a comment yesterday. I believe it was on Personal Finance or Sports Card Dad's video. And I responded to their comment and kind of was just trying to help them out, really. They were talking about they had an issue or something. And I replied to them. And then somebody else chimed in, like, saying stuff about SGC and, like, that they only had one encapsulating machine and people need to understand who they're actually grading with and that SGC is just a bunch of amateurs and this, that, and the other. I just wanted to let everybody know out there. Again, I said it earlier. I'm not new to the rodeo. This here was actually my first ever SGC video. Let's go to throwback time. Nice little Juan Soto gold label right there. This video was actually from March 31st, 2020. So they're not a new company to me, and I'm not new to supporting them. I sent cards into them before the pandemic ever hit. Um, so somebody saying that, we don't, that it's basically sheep now flocking to SGC because they've gained some momentum. I think that's kind of hilarious because I remember the times when I would go live at night and like there would be trolls in the chat, or I'd do a video and people would, say, but PSA sells for more and this, that, and the other. And now it's like there's a lot of support for SGC. And it's kind of cool to know we've been along for the ride. Like, I think when we started using them, I believe Peter and them said it was either 5 or 7 employees, but there wasn't many there. And the last update I had heard, they had grown to 170 employees. And I see the Instagram posts they make and all of the positive comments. It used to crack me up. PSA would make a post and everybody be like, "Where's my cards? Where's my cards? Where's my cards?" It's like, "You've got my cards from February 2021. Where's my cards?" SGC makes a post and it's a lot of positivity. You guys are awesome. Thanks for all you guys are doing down there. I love SGC, flame emojis, all this other stuff. And it's like, I remember back when like nobody would have even cared if they made a post, right? They would have just it'd been kind of like me making a post, right? I might get 20 likes or something and feel awesome because 20 people, checked it out. It's like the change in landscape has been amazing to honestly witness. you know, uh, Coming from where you were the little guy, like they were the little company. I actually made a reel just out of fun, and I used the song by Drake. Started at the bottom, now we're here because they did. They were the bottom guy. Um, Nobody was using them. They were vintage. They were respected for vintage. And today, look at all the cards being sent to them. No, they're not doing a million a month. Let's not pretend that's where they're at. But 2 years ago, people wouldn't have been sending in uh, Ja Morant RPAs or Justin Herbert, RPAs or any of that stuff. Prism silvers and colors and Bowman chromes, and people weren't sending it to them. So it's very cool. I appreciate everybody like Mile High. He just posted right here. He remembers paying $8 a card, and that's exactly right. When our bulk submission, which I'll go over here and show you all that, um, would have been, let's see, where is the post at? Right here. Uh, Massive 1,320 card preview. This was on July 18th, 2020. This submission was $8.50 a card. And we sent out our very first big bulk sub was 1,320 cards in July of 2020. Wasn't many people using SGC in July of 2020, except for the fact that they were like the only option. PSA was shut down, BGS was shut down. But even then, we were able to pop out over 1,300 cards. $8.50 is what we were at that time. And we plugged along ever since. We got paused for a couple months when they got behind a little bit. And then in early 2021 started back up, and then they got hit massive with a bunch of cards, and Peter wanted to put a clamp down and didn't want to get behind again, so he raised prices up. And I took like another month off because I told him I wasn't doing subs at $50 a card. There was no way I was charging my people that. And so we took like another month, and then he finally came around and said, all right, we're going to lower it back down. And so we started back up again. But it's just cool to see the ride. Like it's cool to be on to know that we've been on the train the whole time. Like we didn't hop on that bandwagon. We've been on the train. We've been riding it along. It's had some little bumps in the tracks, and there might be some loud voices on there, screaming at you, telling you that you're silly, you're foolish, you're wasting your money, whatever. But I've just stuck on the train, went along for the ride, uh, doing what I enjoy, and if others wanted to hop along and send cards in and join the ride as well, we've always got a seat for you. This train doesn't get full. So we allow people to come on and join on the train, and it's been a hell of a ride. I'll say that. So it's neat to be a part of the growth and witness all of it. And Mile High, you know, shout out to you. You're one of the OGs here with the channel, the group subs, and everything. So just proof right there. Somebody that's also, he doesn't send every order, and that's perfectly fine. But he's seen the ride, he's seen the journey. He knows the people that would get on and troll. And I've learned to let that go. It used to bother me. I used to get pissed off. I used to vent and rant and just lose my temper a little bit, and people liked that. I don't know why, but people did enjoy it when I would get riled up. But I've learned to let it go. I've learned to look back and just look at things differently and say, hey, things have went, kind of like FCC is not number one. I'm not sitting here playing that game, but they've definitely grown. And things I've said all along, you can go back and look at old videos if you have extra time and choose to. Things I've said to people, things I said in the beginning, a lot of it came true. So it's cool to know that, and I hope people have realized I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's ass. So that's not what I'm here for. But Brendan Ryan, how are you doing, sir? I really enjoy all the little artworks that you do. So keep doing your thing, man. Enjoy seeing someone that has fun, or having something that they really enjoy. So, Paige here says, I really am super hung up on the switcheroo by another human. If I could drive up to a grading company and walk right into the office and see them grade it, slab it, that would be the only way. I mean, I'll be honest with you. So I, for the very longest time, never graded a card. I was kind of the same way. I was very hesitant. I still remember sending out my first ever order. Um, I was searching around YouTube. I was Googling all over the web, trying to figure out how you package this stuff and making sure I didn't screw anything up, and tried to find, like, was there any tips to it, or, any tricks to getting good grades or what have you. And it's kind of like, dating that girl, and you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. Once you do it, it becomes a little bit more relaxing. Once you get it off your chest, and uh, you realize it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. It's fun. It adds a lot of fun to the hobby. Grading isn't essential. It's not needed. It's not a needed piece to the hobby. You can enjoy sports cards without slabs, definitely. But it does add some fun to it. It gives you a nice holder, a nice case. It gives you, one reason I like it, and I know you have kids. A lot of the cards that I have that I do plan to hold for, the long haul. Um, Once those are handed down, I don't want my kids to have to worry about, you know, is somebody going to tell them they're fake, or somebody asking them what the condition is, or what have you. It's already done, right? I always tell my kids, I get to enjoy this today, they get to enjoy it tomorrow. And that's kind of how I see it. And I have fun doing this. I have fun helping people out. The group subs have been an amazing journey. It was something, honestly, just as you said, you have a little fear in the process. For the longest time, I said that I wouldn't do group subs. People were asking us to do them, and I told the wife, I was like, "Nah." I was like, "I'm not doing it." It's a lot of responsibility. I had fear. I really did. I had fear. In fact, our first ever submission we did as a group sub, I did a very small one just to see how the process would go. And then we've decided to go ahead and do a regular service one, which was the 1320 that you see on the screen. So, yeah, I mean, it's it's uh it's just fun. It's a lot of fun. So, Brendan Ryan said, doubt PSA will ever catch SGC's turnaround anytime soon. That would be impressive if they did, but I don't think, I'm with you. I don't think they'll ever be able to. But let's be fair. I mean, SGC's doing, what's their max? They've done like 100,000. PSA's done 1.1 million. So you are talking about they're doing 10x more cards. So I don't see them being able to do, like, yeah, that they would have to do, what would that be? 500,000 a day or so? Like, I know SGC's capacity, and it may have grown a little bit now, but their capacity is like 5,000 a day. And so if you 10x that, I mean, that would be PSA doing what, 50,000 a day on capacity, and that would have to start with nothing in the building, basically nothing in the building. And then the demand would have to be matching the same scale as what PSA's or SGC's demand is. So yeah, I don't think the turnaround time with PSA will ever be at that level. I think their demand is too high, and it would be damn near impossible for them to keep up with the demand they get in the building. So, let's see. Maha says, I have to thank you on swaying me on not buying tools or Tops Chrome. I'm so glad I didn't, and I have to thank you. Man, I know I got some heat for that night, and you were the one that asked me the question. Again, that's a prime example where I'm just gonna sit here and tell you my honest opinion, my honest thoughts. Am I ever gonna say I'm always 100% right? Hell no. Nobody is, right? But I'm not going to be uh I'm not gonna tell you something if I don't have true feelings, right? And I didn't have any interest in buying Chrome. And I love the product, but not at the price. At the price that it was, I had no interest. If it was cheaper, then yeah, I might have looked into it. But at the price, I was just telling you my true feelings on it. I took a little heat for it, but it is what it is, and I'm glad I could help people out because I was just speaking on my own personal opinion, which obviously that's another thing that people haven't understood yet. It's okay to have different opinions. This is a hobby. Again, we don't all like baseball. We don't all like football. We don't all like basketball. We don't all like F1 or soccer or whatever. We don't like the same players or the same teams. There's so many different choices in this hobby. We all can have different opinions. Some are going to be right. Some are going to be wrong. Some are going to be indifferent. And that's perfectly fine at the end of the day. So, Brendan Ryan says, actually, SGC can say they have far better consistency than PSA. Number one, the most expensive sports card is in an SGC slab. So I will agree with you. Consistency, they are top notch, not only with the grading itself, but obviously the turnaround time. Like, look, they've been churning this out now for a few months at a rapid pace. Grading, I have witnessed personally. In fact, I have cracked out an old uh, SGC slab and sent the card in. Like, didn't send it in to get a new label. I actually cracked the card out of the slab. I wanted to see and sent it in, and it got the same identical grade as it had before I cracked it. So I thought that was pretty impressive. We've sent in cards. Somebody sent a card through us. They cracked it out. They told me they cracked it out, sent it back in, came back the same exact way. So it's kind of cool to see the consistency, witnessing it. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be 100% of the time that that's going to happen. There might be a period where you might send an 8 and it gets an 8.5, something like that. But for the most part, they're pretty consistent. As far as the most expensive sports card, they actually own the top two spots because the Wagner and the Mantle are both up there. Uh, Now, I'm not going to sit and pretend that if another big card came to market, that it wouldn't, dethrone the 9.5 Mantle. Uh, but yes, currently they do own it. They have held the record a few times. It's pretty cool that they have number one and number two, but there's definitely other cards out there. Hell, there's probably raw cards out there in reality that might could exceed that. But people would definitely be putting them in a slab first. But yeah, it's definitely a bragging right that they have. So the missus was listening and said that I compared dating to grading, and she's got me. Uh, yeah, I didn't go into full details on my analogy there. That would likely get me probably demonetized or something on YouTube. So I just kept it G rated. Um, Paige said, "How long were I holding off to date the so-called grading?" So for me, um, I didn't send my first card in. I bought graded cards, but I didn't actually send my first card in to be graded until October of 2019. And the reason I'll be completely transparent why me and the wife decided to start trying out grading. She just so happened pulled a Red Wave 2019 Topps Chrome Fernando Tatis Jr. rookie out of five. I knew that was a very significant card. We also had some Prism Silvers of Luca. We had, at the time, they were good. Marvin Bagley. We had DeAndre Ayton Silvers. We had Trey Young, like greens and red, white, and blues. And a Luca green, and a lot of Prism basketball, a lot of nice Prism 2018-19 Prism rookies. Um, and so I was like, well, let's try this out. And I, believe it or not, I signed up for a PSA membership. That was my original intent, was to use PSA. And I signed up for the platinum membership. It gives you 15 vouchers with that membership. Well, at the time, it gave you 15 vouchers. I sent 15 cards in with my vouchers, and then I added on a separate card, which was the Tatis for, at the time, Express was supposed to be 8-day turnaround. And I paid over $100 to get that one card graded, and it took over a month. And what really ticked me off wasn't that it took over a month. Full transparency of everything and about the story. I've shared it before, but it wasn't that it took over a month that bothered me. It was the story that I was told when I called to check on it. And I got a straight up, like, we don't really care. So basically, it's the way it came off. The girl basically said, well, we don't force you to submit at a faster turnaround time. You could submit at the lower turnaround time, but we would just charge you more. And I was like, okay, but I submitted under the right turnaround time, and you're not providing me that service. And I'm trying to find out why. And she couldn't give me an answer. She just said they were researching the card. And I was like, you've done other red waves. Like, this isn't a new parallel. This is 2019 Topps Chrome. Red waves aren't anything new. You've done Pete Alonso red waves. You've done 2018 red waves. Like, this isn't a new parallel. What exactly are you researching? And, if it was like some 1890s old judge or something like that, okay, cool, research the hell out of it. But it was a 2019 red wave. It was like, okay, what's so difficult about this card? So anyway, that combined with the fact that my 15 vouchers, I actually got those back the same exact day as the one card express order, and they still made sure to charge me for separate shipping. And the cards all came back at the same time, just in separate boxes, and I was charged for both packages and shipping. The whole process, the whole customer service, the lack of answers when you ask a question, just wasn't for me. And you know, I'm someone that, I've said this too. Sure, the values of the cards is important to folks, but I value myself, and like myself as a consumer. I'm not like, if I go buy a car and the dealership like works on it and screws it up, or the car doesn't last or whatever, do you think I'm going to continue buying the same brand car? No. If I send sports cards in for grading and the service isn't provided the way it's supposed to be, or the customer service people aren't going to answer my questions the way they should, then no, I'm not going to continue using them. I value my dollar. I value me as a consumer, and what I'm paying for, I expect to get that service provided essentially. So that's why I quit using them, and I've not used them since. So Paige said, my fear is ramped up 1,000% because I can see the scenario in my brain of someone switching my card. Uh, no, that's something that I see very unlikely happening. Um, like, I don't know what eras you collect, but like if it's cards from the like vintage, unless they're pristine condition, they're gonna have little nuances about them that you could notate. And if they're ultra modern cards, likelihood they're going to have a serial number or something on there that'll help you identify what your card is. I like, me and the missus, when we do our orders, we break them into separate invoices. That way, nobody on the same invoice has the same card. Like, if you sent in, I see you mentioned the strawberry shortcake thing. So let's say you sent in a strawberry shortcake red parallel, and baseball card curmudgeon sent one in as well. And there was no way to identify which whose this was whose. Yours would be on one invoice and his would be on another. And then that way, when they came back to us, we could we would I'd be able to identify whose was whose because they're on separate invoices. That's how we do it. I have stacks of cards right here that I'm working on preparing to send out. I have never once even thought about switching anybody's cards. The missus might joke if there's an Emmett Smith or something. She might joke in like chat and say, "That's mine" or something. Everybody out there. I mean, we've sent in 52 manuals now, so um, never, never, ever, ever would we even consider doing any. In fact, I know he's working, so he's not watching. A guy I talk about a lot, JJ. Uh, I actually bought some cards off of him. Um, I still remember it. It was a Fleer, Kevin Durant rookie, and we both sent. He had one, and I had bought one off of him, and we sent them in at the same time in the same order. And when they came back, mine wound up getting a higher grade, and I felt like awkward there because I knew he was very well at inspecting his cards, and I didn't want to even risk like a friendship by even any thought that I might have swapped him out. And I even offered to give him the higher graded one. I was like, look, I don't want you to think anything because, I don't know what happened. I don't know if you sent me the wrong one when I bought it or what the hell happened. But um, yeah, like I would never do anything to risk somebody even thinking that we would swap cards. It's not worth it. Plus, I would have to sit here and own every card that somebody's sending in anyway. So, and that's not happening. I have a lot of cards, but y'all send some really crazy stuff. Paige is helping Refractor with the strawberry shortcake pump. That's why I mentioned strawberry shortcake. Baseball card curmudgeon, how are you doing, sir? Hope you're having a wonderful Friday. Congrats to your Yankees for being in the playoffs. I know that's been a while. Brendan said, forgot about the Wagner. Mile High says he has a stack of cards he needs to send in. He's glad he was lazy and didn't get to it. Now he gets a better price, but you go home this week, so you'll get some ready. Yeah, I know you travel on the road and stuff, so a lot of your stuff isn't always accessible. Rick Moore, he's got, I don't know how many cards Rick has here. If he's watching, shout out to him. He is a trucker, so he's out on the road a lot. And so he sent us massive boxes. This is another point to Paige's thing. I have massive boxes from Rick Moore. I also have James Gilliam's cards here. We have like people will send us cards and just be like, "Hey, if I send you a box of cards, can you pick them out?" Now I can't do that for everybody because it does take a lot of time and space, obviously. But that's another element of people that can sit and vouch and say, look, they've had my stuff in their possession, and it's the same stuff I gave them to begin with. So. If we're not doing it, I damn sure don't see a grading company doing it because they're making hand money pretty well just by grading the cards. I don't think they are really worried about slipping a card. Maha says, always the wife pulling the fire. Dude, she has pulled so many big hits. It's not funny. It's very rare if I ever pull a bigger hit than she has. She pulled the Kale McCarr clear cut. She pulled the his name's slipping me, but the kid that everybody was chasing last year, not Zegras, but the other one, Cole Caulfield. She pulled that clear cut. She pulled the red Tatis. She's pulled a few big Charizards. She pulled. Well, I can't even think of everything. She's pulled a lot of awesome stuff. Brendan said I'm not gonna call her an old lady, but his partner in crime has better pack mojo than him. The injustice, man, they do, dude. If you have a spouse or a girlfriend or something like that, let them open wax. It just seems like they have the lucky hand. So Paige says, good point about the serial number and vintage discrepancy of variations. Fisheye is a normal wear and tear. Yes, sir. There's always a way to identify your card. Take pictures of them. Take photos of your cards. If you really want to try out grading, take photos of your cards front and back. There's going to be something about that card that you'll be able to identify if it comes back and it's different. There's no question about it. So photograph your cards. So not talking about the middleman switching, talking about the grading company being sloppy or nefarious. Again, I get the fear, but there's millions of cards a month being graded, and yeah, it's it's a business. So um, anyway, let's see. Curmudgeon says, "Don't forget, Yankees have made the playoffs the past 5 years straight. Even for the Yankees, people sometimes forget." What? Oh yeah, they've made the playoffs. They haven't made the World Series in over a decade, I believe. That's what it was. I did misspeak there. You are correct. It was like the first time. I can't remember when they said the last one was, but they were on a run where they had made the World Series like that in at least a decade period over a very long period of time, and then it was like was it the 2010 to 2020, was that the first decade that they had like missed the World Series or something like that in the period of a decade. I know it was something like that. I did misspeak on the playoffs. You were correct though. He said since '95 they've only missed getting to the playoffs 4 times. Okay, so so I did misspeak. It was the World Series is what I meant. I knew there was some statistic where they hadn't been to the World Series in a long time. But anyway, I'm gonna sit here. I knew I said I was gonna do this, and I've been sitting here at the camera talking. I'm gonna sit here and look over some cards. So just still kind of talk, but yeah, I mean, in terms of Page, worrying about the grading company switching cards again, that would take a lot of effort on their part to really look at and decide, and then have the card on hand. That would be pretty difficult to do. So I never have that worry. To be honest with you, the only thing I ever worry about, and this is something that I cannot like help with the fear of, the shipping. Shipping the cards worries me more than actually the grading companies. So that's the one thing I always say is out of my hands, and that's why I prefer overnight shipping, because then it at least lessens the worry. Mile High says show some heat. This isn't exactly heat, but I do think it's funny. This kid, I seen one of his cards sold for over $700. Bailey Zappi, that prodigy for the New England Patriots. There's a Bailey Zappi rookie auto. Be curious to see how his career or next few weeks play out. But I seen somebody spent over 700 on a 101 Shield auto from Elements, low end product. Little fact: Mac Jones. I seen a tweet that said Mac Jones had over 60 NFL Shield 101s in his rookie year in 2021. Do y'all remember when Shields were actually tough to get? And Mac Jones has over 60 different Shield 101s. Times are definitely changing, man. So, but somebody sold a Bailey Zappi 101 Shield auto for $725. So, congrats to the seller and good luck to the buyer, because I mean, I don't know. Rick Moore is here. He says, hello, everyone. Hello, sir. Rick is someone that can vouch. Again, he's got boxes of cards here. So let's see. Curmudgeon says, good trivia knowledge on your part. They haven't been to the World Series since 2009. Okay, so I was correct. I knew there was something with the decades, and it was the first time since like I want to say back in the 30s or something like that that they hadn't been to the World Series. So yeah, I misspoke about the playoffs, but I was correct about the World Series. Uh, yeah, my high I want to say it was either 62 or 69 different Shield 101s. I can't remember the exact number, but it was over 60. So Paige said, "What am I doing with the cards?" I have a lighted magnifying glass. That's also why it's kind of dark in here. I don't have the curtain closed, but I like it dark when I'm looking cards over. It helps my eyes. It also helps, when I'm looking at the magnifying glass. Kind of instead of battling the overhead light and this light, it's just one light focusing on the card. And so I'm taking cards from top loaders, looking them over, and then, if there's fingerprints or anything, wiping them off with a microfiber. I do not use any chemicals, cleaning supplies, anything like that. If anyone ever wonders, no, I do not clean cards. There was a question asked in the group yesterday, do I clean cards? And it was someone new, and someone else got confused and thought they were actually asking if I cleaned cards. I do not. This is dry. Just a simple, this is an eyeglass microfiber, little simple microfiber here. Key importance with these is make sure that you don't have dust and stuff on them, because then it can scratch the cards. But yeah, I'm just transferring them into card savers, wiping chromium cards. I do not wipe paper stock because you can damage the card. But I have really changed. My collection's been chasing rainbows of Jokic, and let me tell you, it's a lot for Prism. Yeah, what is Prism like 40? Well, I know football was like 41. Basketball is likely more because basketball's always had more color. In fact, let me see if I can find it. I did not know. I shared this, but I did not know this was even a color. This is a new color for football. See if I can find it here. Where the hell is it? I had one sitting here that was pretty cool. Oh, here it is. Have you guys seen this? Black and orange. I've never seen black and orange Prism before. Definitely a new color. I knew they had black and gold, but this is black and orange. Serial numbered out of 75. So very, very weird. I think it might look good for the Bengals, but outside of that, maybe the Browns. I don't know. But I wasn't ever expecting a black and orange, like a Halloween parallel. I second guess everything I call because I want it to be the best. Oh my god, I can't. I second guess everything I call because I want it to be the best for the players. Is Hackett the guy? Is he the offensive coordinator for the Broncos? I did not watch the game last night. I heard it was a shit show, to say the least. To be honest about it, I didn't get to watch it. I was very busy yesterday, obviously, but I was hearing people talk about it, and yeah, I don't know what's up with Denver. Like, I thought they would be good with Russ. Maybe Russ, and I don't know. He's definitely not looking like the Russ Wilson that we've been accustomed to seeing. But what are you guys getting into on this Friday, though? Like, y'all got plans this weekend? Anybody going to a show? I know the Vegas show is supposed to be going on. Midwest Monster is supposed to be going on. Anybody out there watching? Are y'all going to a show this weekend? I know, I guess the New York City Comic Con thing is going on. I don't know when that ends, but I know that's going on. So there's a bunch of shows going around. I'm anticipating the Chantilly show. If anybody's going to Chantilly, let me know. I know Big Scott's supposed to be going. Natsman's supposed to be going. James called me yesterday to confirm he is coming down. Always have a great time. James coming and visiting. So always excited for Chantilly. I think I'm going to try to do something I've said for the 2.5 plus years that I was going to try to do and I've never done. We're going to see how it goes. I don't know how well it'll turn out, but I may do some footage. Um, because I don't have anything right now on my radar that I'm looking for to pick up necessarily. And I thought about it and I was like, if I just go in and take like an hour or something like that and go around and record or whatever, I could try to edit it into videos and show you guys more about the Chantilly show. I know Card Collector's been there. I know Roth's been there. I know Sports Card Investor's been there. Who else goes up there? Santiago Sports is usually there. So I know there's content creators up there and folks have gotten to see some of the show. Um, but a lot of those guys are also just sharing deals and stuff. So I thought maybe I would kind of try to show more of the cards and all that, but we'll see how it goes. I've never done the show vlog type things. But I always enjoy going to that show, so I might take like an hour or so out of the day and try to record some footage to share more with Chantilly. I'd love for more people like to fly over and hit that show up. It's right near Dulles Airport, so it's very easily accessible to get to the show. Also, you can hit up Blowout. They have a shop that's like 5 minutes from the show. Um, so yeah, it's an awesome show. The dealers there are always pretty good. The autograph, if you like doing the autograph guests, Chantilly has a massively awesome autograph guest lineup. Um, so yeah, like if anybody ever wants to see another show, I'd like to go to Philly. I'd like to go to that show sometime. Would like to hit up the expo up in Canada. I've never been to Canada, but I get jealous when I see footage of that show because of all the hockey cards and everything. So I would like to go to the expo at some point. Um, but yeah, that Dallas and stuff looks neat, but I don't know if I don't know, and I might be wrong on this, but it looks like it's more ultra modern, and I'm not like I keep up with ultra modern, but outside of like baseball guys, I don't do a lot of the football and basketball and stuff anymore. So let's see. Maha says by far the worst game he's watched in 25 years of watching football. The fans were leaving when the game went to overtime. I heard it was terrible, and I've seen some stats like the Broncos were basically in the red zone several times after the or in the second half, and they only got a field goal. That's never good. I mean, it's one thing if it's a defensive game, but it sounded like the game just sucked. So Curmudgeon said we might go to the Port St. Lucie show here in Florida, in South Florida. Um, not 100% sure. So would that be on? I'm guessing that would be on the eastern portion of Florida, or did Southern Florida get hit very bad with Ian? I don't know the situation down there. I was trying to keep up with a little bit of it, but then there's not a ton of like footage. Obviously, those people needed to be at safety anyway. But I'm hoping the recovery efforts and everything down there are going well. Um, so let's see. If I had a blue wrench, I could leak my tour. Um, I am doing this on StreamYard, and to be honest with you, Paige, my wife she's the one normally in chat. She's working right now. When I'm doing like the previews and stuff like that, she'll mod people up. So like it's nothing against you at all. I don't know how to do it on StreamYard. It doesn't give me that option on here. And my wife is I don't know if she's on in the chat right now. So but she's the one that always gives people the little blue wrenches. The folks that we know come and hang out in the live chats and all that. She mods them up, and that way we know who's been around. And if there's ever like any of that spam stuff or whatever, people can help out and chat, get rid of it, and all that. So Tony says the Philly non-sports show, that would be a fun one too. You are correct, sir. That's something I don't talk and show a lot of it, but I do have a well, I wouldn't say I'm a very large, but I've started getting more into the non-sports stuff because I've had a lot of fun with it. Um, in fact, little secret, I have not bought a sports card since the National, but surprisingly, I have bought non-sports cards. So that's something that's a little bit of, folks probably wouldn't be able to guess because I do love sports cards, but I bought so many at the National. I've kind of like hit the pause button. I told James yesterday, I was like, I'm kind of relaxing right now and just letting everything reset. Like I'm trying to purge the collection is what I called it a little bit, or trim the fat off of it. Some stuff that maybe I've accumulated that I didn't actually love or that I've held on to just for the heck of it. Trying to trim that down a little bit, trying to get a little bit more organized. Um, and refocus and let the hobby also kind of do its little reset thing. But the non-sports stuff is really fun. Uh, it it's not as volatile, really. I don't buy it to worry about prices going up or down or whatever. I buy it because it's like a show or actor, comedian, or what have you that I enjoy, and it makes it a lot more relaxing, a lot more fun, and a lot of it's not that expensive. So definitely a show that I could really see being a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to look and see when the next one is. Philly's not too far, a couple-hour drive. So Kamoja said he grew up in Canada, went to the expo throughout the '90s before moving to the States. Second best show in North America for me. It definitely looks like an awesome show. I've really been getting into hockey. The season's about to start. Not many people talk about hockey cards or hockey. Um, I mean, there's some channels out there like Ziri and um, there's like I can't think of their names right now. There's a couple other channels that are hockey specific. Uh, but I'm telling you, watching hockey is freaking awesome. I started getting into it a couple years ago. I got the ESPN Plus package last year, and definitely excited. Season's about to start, so that's a show I would love to hit because that's one thing that Chantilly lacks. Like there'll be a couple dealers there with some hockey, but mostly it might be like upper deck sets or maybe sprinkled a few Capitals cards or something. But that show up there at the expo, it does look really awesome. So I'd like to go hit that up. Rick says it is the east side. He meant east side of Florida. So thank you for clarifying that. That's what I kind of expected. But still, hope the people down in Florida are recovering and cleaning up and everything. Mike Kaufman, how are you doing, sir? He says Pokemon. I have not bought any. I don't buy a lot of singles Pokemon. Um, Pokemon for me, and I've told this story, and I'm not trying to get all like emotional and sappy and everything. Pokemon for me is more of a mental, like fun thing. It's not about values. It's not even necessarily in collecting anything specific. The missus kind of likes the evolutions like Umbreon and Espeon and those, and she likes Snorlax. But outside of that, I really just do Pokemon as a connection with my younger brother. Um, I've told the story. I lost him, in '08. He was 19 in a car accident, and I got to thinking back on it. And in '99, when Pokemon was released, he was only 10 years old, and there was a picture of me and him at Christmas. And I just remember in the background behind us, there was just a crap load of Pikachu. And so I was sitting one day and I was thinking about it. Sports cards, I couldn't find them, at Walmart or anything. I couldn't find anything to open. And I was sitting here one day and I was thinking about my brother. And I was like, what would he be into today? If he was still here with us today, what would he be into? And I was like, he probably would have a kid, at least one. And I remembered that photo from '99. I was like, I bet he would be sharing Pokemon with his kid. and I don't know, something spoke to me, and so I went to Walmart. I bought just a couple of the little small packages, not really knowing nothing about what I was buying, and yeah, it's just something every so often I pick up. I played Pokemon Go with the wife and the kids a little bit, but it's not something I really can sit here and advise people in or anything. I just do it more. It's kind of like a relaxation thing. Open some packs, get the V Maxes or the Vs or what are the V stars I think they have now or whatever they are. The cool little full arts. They look really they look fun. They're cool looking. They look awesome in the tuxedo. So it's just something I pull those out, and every so often I'll send some in. So it's nothing about the investment side of it or knowing much about it. It's just a little personal thing for me, kind of like a little emotional, you know, mental thing, so to speak. I know that doesn't sound right, but it's just what it is. Just something to have fun with. So Tony says, especially vintage non-sports, the search is a big part of the challenge. Yes, and it's also a very fun part of the challenge. I get on a couple of the websites that shares a lot of information about vintage stuff or non-sports stuff, and I just sit here and hunt. And sometimes you find things that those sites don't even have listed, and that's even funner because you're like, oh, I wonder how many people even know about this. So yeah, that's definitely true. The search, a lot of that old vintage non-sports stuff too, is overseas. Like it's over in Great Britain or across the pond, the UK, that area. So even finding is difficult. So the search is definitely a lot of the fun. So anyway, guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and hop off here. It's been a good hour. I do need to get back to working on these cards, and as y'all have seen, I'm not good at like not paying attention to the screen. So it's been difficult for me to do this while I'm talking. I thought I'd be able to do it, I didn't. I'm not so good at that as I thought. So, but I do appreciate everybody hopping on. Hope you all had a great lunch. I was like, yeah, let's see if anybody's at lunch and wants to hang out for a little bit. But yeah, overall, back to the original discussion. Choose whatever company you like. Both. I think there's many advantages even with both of them at the same price. Um, the turnaround times, the declared value with SGC is definitely a bonus. But I do know some folks focus in and get hyper focused on that resale value, and they're going to stick with PSA. Moral to the story is we don't know what the outcome is going to be. We don't know what the turnaround time with PSA is going to be like. And we don't know if the prices are going to even stay where they are. They might drop. So, but at the end of the day, use who you like, who you believe in, who gives you the customer service and everything that you enjoy, and really just have fun. So that's all I got for you guys. I'm gonna get back to work here and work on these cards. So I hope you have a wonderful Friday. I'm sure I'll be talking to you guys before the weekend's out. um, I'll see how things go. I might hop on with Carlos. I sometimes hop on with him on Fridays. I don't know what he's got planned. If I'm not too busy or whatever, I might hop on with him because I'm Carlos over on his channel. He goes live every Friday night. So I may catch you guys over there. But have a good evening, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy, and until the next video, I'm out.